That. Our next presenter, I'm delighted to say, is Miss Nora Fitzgerald. Nora is a CNM2 from Intellectual Disability Services with the COPE Services in Cork. Thanks, Nora.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you to all the previous speakers. You've said an awful lot of what I'd be saying as well. I've been asked to speak today on the contribution of quality care metrics to safer practice in COPE Foundation, where I work. And for those of you that don't know Cork, our COPE Foundation, it supports about 2,350 people with intellectual disability and or autism within 65 locations in Cork City and County. So we're almost like the community. It employs 250 nurses approximately and supports 100 student nurses over a 4-year degree programme. It also provides placements for general trained nurses and for dual qualified nurses. So it has a lot of nursing involved. And when I heard about metrics first, I felt very like this one here. A little bit confused and a little bit, I sort of was born before the metric system. But we decided we'd embrace it anyway. So our metrics journey in COPE really is a journey of improvement over the past few years, from 2014, 2015 to the present day. And the key points for us in COPE Foundation, I suppose, when we were introduced to the concept, was that what we were assured was that metrics provides assurance that we are operating at the highest standard of nursing practice. And the first presentation that I received on metrics used these 3 little words here. It spoke about assuming, you know, if we go in for a burger, we expect to get a burger. If we go into CUH for an operation, we expect to get our operation. If we go into COPE Foundation looking for a service for people with intellectual disability, we expect to get a service. So, but we assume it. So we kind of take it for granted. Oh yeah, they sell burgers, so we'll get a burger. But on your way in, you might see someone that will reassure you and say, listen, these are really good burgers in here, you know, and you'll be really reassured. But to assure you that this is really the best burger ever, or the best service ever, it's a declaration to inspire full confidence, and it's based on evidence, as was previously stated, and it's free from doubt. So you have the data to show this is exactly what you're getting, you know. And I think that's a great assurance to service users, to patients, that this is, and families, of course. So the timeline, I suppose, in COPE Foundation was in 2014. We were introduced to the metrics. Mandy Sutherland from the Heart of England Foundation Trust, as you know, started there. And we received a few information sessions following invitation from our Director of Nursing to embrace the metrics process. We attended a few briefings, because the first briefing was very much like the slide where we were all a bit confused. So we attended a few. And our links over time with Aoife Lane, who I met earlier, and I was delighted to see her, and Joan Downey, who has been a huge support to us as well. And any problems we have, as the link, they'd be sort of emailed to me, and then I'd immediately get on to Joan at the moment, and she's been a great support. And around this time, I was appointed the lead within COPE Foundation. And we commenced collection. We kind of commenced slightly differently to the previous speaker, in that we started off quite slowly, because we kind of felt we wanted to get it right, because we weren't sure. And we commenced collection in 2 areas initially with 4 collectors, and this was in October 2015. And again, we totally agree that collecting in 2s was very good practice, because it helped to give each other confidence, particularly when we were starting out. Then there were other areas added incrementally over time, over the coming months and years. Now we have 15 locations and we have 12 collectors. The metrics team then meets every 2 months, and the reason for that is to discuss and plan future collections, to discuss any additional metrics that you're adding, and to discuss exactly how everyone will perceive the metric. Because there is only 3 answers: yes, no, and non-applicable. So just to ensure that who is doing the collecting, that they will all see yes, no, or non-applicable. So how it works really is you have your suite of metrics, you have your standard operating procedure, which is your booklet and your guide, and that's really a really great go-to, because if you want to check, exactly how you interpret a criteria, you ensure that you check that. Again, the collections have to be monthly, and again, you have your yes, no, and non-applicable. Reports are printed and displayed, as the previous speaker said. Action plans are agreed and acted upon. And again, just to limit bias, obviously you never collect your own area. This can have quite difficulties if you have 65 locations in Cork City and County. There's a lot of travel involved and a lot of tea and coffee and buns. But the results will show standards, it will show improvements and areas to improve. So the contribution of quality care metrics in nursing practice and COPE Foundation, the full suite of metrics currently looks at medication management, NIMBY guidance, care planning, personal details, personal plans, information and the environment. And what we found in COPE was that, as previous speakers stated, we had volumes and volumes of paper audits, and we were able to replace some of those by the metrics, which was a big plus. Within all of these areas, there was evidence of improvement in COPE and therefore better outcomes for the people we support. In medication, there was better compliance with correct procedures, signage, storage, the MDA books, a simple thing like the presence of a MIMS at every drug trolley. You'd always aspire to have it, but once you start the drug round, you go for the MIMS, it's not there. But following the introduction of the metrics, it was very evident how soon this practice was in place, which was very, very big positive for us, I felt. Under the care planning, care plans, personal care, there was a more structured approach to this, and it guided nurses in what should be present as a baseline. Care plans and care planning is the bane of everybody's life, I think. You know, they're such a big piece of work. But what metrics does is it just looks at the things that have to be there, and if you have all of those things there, then the hope is that everything else will follow suit, you know. So again, as you know, metrics is an audit tool, but it's not a very in-depth one. It's one that looks at the general area and the general processes, and if you're coming up with dips there, then you delve deeper and see where the problem is. So information again, and the information section, it gave guidance on what should be present and a way to measure it easily, which was helpful. In the environment then, a quick check to ensure the environment was safe and had a statement of purpose and HICWA reports readily available. I must say they were always available, but sometimes they just could not be found. You know, but once we introduced metrics, we suddenly could find them, which was very helpful in a hurry or at an inspection. So the NIMBY guidance then, there was an increased awareness of best practice in nursing documentation, and I think all of the previous speakers spoke about that. And we all know as nurses, if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. Yeah, and it's so important really, isn't it, for all of us? So it encouraged us all nurses to revisit our professional guidance documents regarding clinical practice and our code of professional conduct. And as we know, the quality of records maintained by nurses and midwives is a reflection of the quality of care provided by them to their clients or patients. And you know, this good practice in record management is an integral part of quality nursing and midwifery practice, and the consequence of poor record keeping have been highlighted repeatedly by court proceedings and investigations through FOI, data protection, fitness practice. It comes up all of the time. And metrics kind of motivated staff nurses of every grade to address deficits in nursing documentation. And we found this very evident, really. It promoted accountability and promotes excellence in nursing care. And what we found for ourselves, it created a safer environment for nurses as well. We're all about creating a safe environment for the people we support, for our patients, for our clients, and that's, you know, the kernel of the whole thing. But we also have to create a safe environment for ourselves. And this is just sort of what a metric looks like for the NIMBY guidance. And again, all entries are dated and timed 24-hour clock. It's so basic. We do it a lot of the time prior to the metrics, and an awful lot of people were using the analogue clock, the old system. And every month you'd come and you'd do your checks, and you'd check 5, 6 charts and find that 4 were perfect and 1 would let you down. And it's the same old story every time, yeah. But over time, it's amazing, by reiterating and reiterating it, it does stick, and it is. and all records written are legible in permanent ink and signed. And that's very important as well. And we found we would have a lot of people from, say, the Philippines who have beautiful writing, very valuable members of our team, fantastic writing, but they have a great script and you really would struggle to read the names. So it highlighted to us that our people, they have to sign, but we also ensure that we have a really good signature bank, you know. And all entries are in chronological order. Again, so important, and any late entries identified. All abbreviations and grading systems are from the national or local approved list and system. And I mean, there was some very interesting problems with the maternity services. We didn't have those problems, but there were some interesting abbreviations, all right. And then alterations, corrections as per NIMBY Guidance. It's amazing the number of people that will just, you know, cross it out in case you might read it. So, you know, to just put your line through and your initial is so important. And, you know, that was something that we picked up on as well. And the student entries that are countersigned by the supervising nurse, and we would have picked up a lot of those as well who would not have been countersigned. And again, all of this practice has improved greatly. And over the sites, we would have found variations, which is shocking, from 33% in places to 100%. But I can tell you they're all 100% now. And this Peter Drucker, I mean, because I always find presentations can be very boring sometimes, but I was looking up Peter Drucker, and he said, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And it's so important. Like, if you were only going to Unislim, you know, and they take your weight and they measure you, and you know, my God, I have to go back next week, you know. So if it's measured, you know, if you measure it, you can improve it. And what measured's improved, and that has been proven. And Peter Drucker goes back to the 1800s, like, so that isn't a new concept. And there is ongoing professional concern that what nurses and midwives contribute to healthcare is under-recognised. And we're the best people in the world for under-recognising what we do ourselves. So I think metrics allows us to measure real-time data and show some of what we do. And like this Edward Deming, again, another statistician, like a scientist, he said, without data, you're just another person with an opinion. And we've all had great opinions about different things, but it's great if we can actually show what we do. And again, I love Googling. And this guy, Carl Pearson, is another statistician, and he said that which is measured improves, and that which is measured and reported improves exponentially. And when I read this first, I said, that looks really good, but what does exponentially mean? But actually, I looked it up, and what it means is things improve at a much faster rate. And that would have been our experience in COPE, that because we were constantly, monthly going back, checking, rechecking, we were able to improve the practice. And again, with your clinical audit, you know, you set your standards, you measure current practice, you compare results, you reflect, plan, change and implement, and you re-audit, very much the same as the plan that the ladies spoke of earlier. And our future plan in COPE Foundation for Quality Care Metrics then, we plan to roll out the new suite of metrics to the existing sites and collectors come the autumn, to provide training and support, to expand to other locations over time, to continue the 8 weekly governance meetings. And I must say they were a great support because we met as a group, we looked at what we were doing and we planned ahead. And to discuss the new SOP, or the standard operating procedure, to agree, you know, areas that need improvement will be addressed, strengths. We must also stretch our targets over time. I think that's very important for all of us. Strive for best practice and share best practice, because with so many locations around Cork City and County, it's great that we get an opportunity to meet and share our practice and to network. And it's been a very, very enriching experience for me and the national team over the last while as well, you know, so that was great networking as well. And we leave the last word to Florence Nightingale, and I never aspired to be anywhere near her, but unless we are making progress in our nursing every day, every month, every week, take my word for it, we are going back. So I think with the metrics, we're really going forward. Thank you very much.